Hey everybody, it's CiNEMACHiNE once again. We're here to do a special review. So
Mixed it up now.
I know, I like to mix it up.
Machine.
The more you know,
Rainbows and
right?
sunshine.
You guys tell me I'm no fun, so I'm trying to be fun. So anyway, I'm Al.
Well,
I'm here
as
with
we review Those Who Wish Me Dead.
I'm here with Ryan.
Hey, hi, this is me.
Yeah, that's your name.
Jeez.
And Brandon.
Hello there.
And this week, we're going to do a special review of Those Who Wish Me Dead, starring Angelina Jolie. We have this movie was released on HBO Max and theatrically. Director Taylor Sheridan, budget of $20 million. Now, still reeling from the loss of 3 lives, Hannah is a smoke jumper who's perched in a watchtower high above the Montana wilderness. She soon encounters Connor, a skittish boy who's bloodied, traumatized, and on the run in the remote forest. As Hannah tries to bring him to safety, she's unaware of the real dangers to follow. 2 relentless killers hunting Connor, and a fiery blaze consuming everything in its path. Now, this stars, as I said, Angelina Jolie, Finn Little as Connor, John Bernthal, Aidan Gillen, Nicholas Hoult, Jake Weber, Medina Senghor, and Tyler Perry. Briefly,
I saw Brandon's eyes light up a little bit when you got to
John Bernthal.
Yeah,
he was really excited. So, all right, let's go around. We haven't done this in a while. we got a new movie, guys. We have watched the Taylor Sheridan movie on this. We have talked about how much we like Taylor Sheridan movies. So I'm gonna go up to you, Ryan. I know you like outdoor movies.
I do.
I know you love movies that are not in the walls of a house or a building.
Confined by the walls of man.
Yeah. So was this movie freeing to you? Did you like it? Just a brief little one line. I got to make this really clear. So when Brandon gets
looking
up,
at you, Brandon.
When Brandon gets up here.
20 minutes later.
Soliloquy. So anyway, Ryan, what was your just like short little tweet about this movie?
I enjoyed this movie. There's things that I didn't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it did not touch Wind River for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Brandon, we have a buzzer ready.
We're going to show using the mute button on Brandon.
I thought that this movie had a very interesting premise. I just felt like it lacked in the execution department. More so, I remember when we talked about Wind River, I thought that it was mostly good, but it was a little green for a directorial effort. Mm-hmm. I think this was less than that. And it could be in the editing process as well that I have these issues with. I just felt like this movie was kind of a mess. And it was like more along the lines of like, and we'll get into it, but it just felt like very like rushed almost. But yeah, I thought it was okay.
That's all you had to say. So, good night, everybody. Boop, boop. No, I'm more in tune with what Brandon's saying here. Thought this movie, I'm a little more cynical about it, but I we'll get into it. But yeah, I don't know if this is definitely at the bottom of the Taylor Sheridan heap for me personally. But all right, so let's talk about Angelina Jolie. Well, I don't remember the last time I saw her in a movie personally.
Yeah, she's one of. I've kind of mentioned this before. I think when we talked about the trailer, she's one of those actors that like it's really hard for me to watch a movie and just not think that's Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
like she's
especially this movie. She's prolific. She never looks bad in this movie as far as like.
Yeah,
agree.
She's glammed up, especially like in the like flashback fire sequences. She's like perfect looking.
Yeah,
no like soot or anything on her face.
Yeah, you got all these grizzled guys around her, and she's like, "I look perfect. My clothes are ironed."
That's why she didn't go save the 3 kids, man.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, that's gonna get me dirty." So, those jerks.
That's why she's having such a hard time. I got
we should probably say spoilers.
You shouldn't be you shouldn't be a fire, like, what do they call them, a firefighter, a smoke jumper, if you're like OCD about your pants getting dirty. You know what I mean? Like, you really shouldn't. So I totally did not believe her in this movie. Not for those 1 second did I believe that she was, like, when she was in the back of that truck and she.
Oh man, that was brutal.
That was like one of those things that was like good on paper, I'm sure, but it was so stupid.
That's a problem that I have with this movie in general. Like, it feels like it throws a lot of stuff at the wall to see what's going to stick, and for me, nothing really sticks. It just comes across as contrived.
I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I like John Bernthal, but I didn't care for him. I didn't care about him. I won't say
great
in this movie.
I'm not saying he was bad. Grace. I know that this is not a surprise, but he was a saving grace for me with this movie.
What?
I got tired of the henchman number one.
They're both bad, and I love Aidan Gillen. I like Nicholas Hoult too. I just think that they were both miscast in this movie. That's the thing. This movie was miscast mostly across the board. The kid was pretty decent. John Bernthal was obviously good, and his wife was pretty good too. I think for me, this is one of those movies where, because I watched this movie and I view it as a streaming movie. Like, I think if I saw this in theaters, I'd be more disappointed. Because I've yet to see like little things, Godzilla vs. Kong, like these big movies that are released at home. Like, I've yet to be impressed by one of them.
I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that they're not in theater and you don't have that overwhelming visceral effect with the, because
maybe with Godzilla vs. Kong,
there are a lot of movies that you go and then you watch them and you're like, I like this at one time, like, even if it's just a few months later when it comes out on home video, like, if we just look at it that way, there are some movies that I'm guilty of liking a couple movies here and there to where it's like, whoa, I liked that. I hate that movie now. Like, not that I hate it, but I would say Tenet's probably one of those. I found that movie so droll. I don't know. It was just boring the second time I watched it. I was just bored to tears. And I watched it in theater and I thought it was okay. Thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know what it is.
I think you might have a point there as far as something like that, where Tenet definitely is a visceral and like oral experience, as well as, like, you really need to see it on a big screen with a big sound to truly appreciate it, I think, because that plays such a big part in it. This, though, I mean, I watched it on a pretty big screen with big sound, but it just felt it felt, like I said, it just felt like cinematography, like the vistas and stuff. Like, I thought it was shot pretty well, but I just feel like there was a lot. I have to believe that there was more to this movie than what was on the screen. Like, I feel like there were a lot of things that were cut that just, like, because it just kind of like, or maybe they just didn't know how to put this thing together. I don't know what it is, but all the, like, dramatic moments with her and her PTSD, the way that they, like, staged this stuff is, like, so, like, jumbled, and, like, it just falls flat to me because it's not earned.
Yeah.
And
it's more of the villain side for me that I didn't feel like the Tyler Perry stuff. Like, at the end of the night, I still don't know what was going on. Like,
yeah, I would have been nice.
You don't know what's going on, and I don't know if that's necessarily important in the grand scheme of things.
I'm not saying I need to know, like, the scheme, but, like, I have no. They just,
even if it was a voiceover at the end. At the end, if it was a voiceover, like the news or something.
Well, the thing is, that kid, if he's doing an interview, Tyler Perry's going to see it. He's coming for him. Like, I was like,
I think the idea is once it's out in public, it doesn't matter.
Well, I thought that they made that clear that it didn't.
That's why he wanted to
matter.
Get the news.
Well,
I thought that was what his dad was saying, was that even because he was like, "Why don't you go to the cops?" He's like, "No, you can't. Like, they still come for you," or whatever he said. Like,
I honestly, okay. Here's the thing. Let's just talk about a couple wacky things right quick. Talk about the villains. That guy got hit by a car, burned in the face with some bear mace. Okay, both those things are bad. And then he was what else? What else happened to him? He didn't he fall down somewhere? Anyway, he kept getting hit and hurt.
He's
and
Danny McBride in what's that? What's the Pineapple Express where he like dies like 14 times and he just keeps coming back?
I was just like, God, I mean, and he was kind of annoying to me. Nicholas Hoult, I like Nicholas Hoult, but he was just kind of wasted in this movie. Like you said, he was miscast.
He just miscast. I mean, he and they try and give him like he's like a little like he might be like having some sympathy here and there, and it's like,
yeah, I didn't pay that off.
He has he like when Aidan Gillen's character like lights the forest on fire, he's like, oh man, that's not cool. Like he's been murdering people like crazy, and then he like lights them. He's like, oh, I don't know about this, man. This is not good.
Yeah, and then he's like, hey, I'm gonna punch this lady in the face until the kid comes out so I can murder him, and he's cool with that. So, yeah,
they're just. I don't know. It just needed better villains. You cast Aidan Gillen because he's got a villain face. He's known for being a villain in Game of Thrones. He's really slimy, but for him to be like this like mercenary character, he doesn't fit that mold, and neither does Nicholas Hoult.
Well, the Aidan Gillen guy, I don't know him.
I think that's a product of writing. I don't think that's like. I think they definitely both could have pulled those roles off. I just think that.
Yeah,
there wasn't any substance.
Maybe so, but yeah, I mean, the writing is not great. I mean, Taylor Sheridan is a great writer, but I don't know if he was just like phoned this one in.
He was an he was an on this script. He was. There were 3 people that wrote this script: the original book writer, another person, and then him, and then he directed it. I do
want to say I thought it was a pretty movie. I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Well, it's hard to make outside look bad. I mean, it's hard to make landscapes and everything look bad. I mean, you can look at Coors Light commercials.
I love outdoor movies. It's great.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's hard to make that kind of stuff look bad. You can have drone shots all day and make it look good. Well, but the CG fires were terrible. I didn't feel any kind of.
I didn't have any issues with fires, to be honest with you.
I had an issue with the fires not having an effect on anybody in terms of the smoke and breathing and that kind of stuff. Like everybody was just like running around, like, all these huge fires, and nobody has an issue breathing, and it's just not affecting people.
Wasn't the one smoke jumper guy, the guy that had the mustache, who's a little heavy, wasn't he the
Wind River guy?
Yeah, the Wind River, the guy that everybody hated, and he was actually a good guy in this movie. I don't know. I didn't believe that Angelina Jolie fit in with that group. I didn't feel, and it has nothing to do woman, man, or anything like that. I just didn't feel like she did. And yeah, it's because
it's Angelina Jolie. Like
she's too scrawny. She's
very scrawny. Like they needed, if they were going to have a female in this role, I just felt they needed a better, like a more physically fit person who could carry, who you would believe could carry their own in this profession. Like, I just don't believe, especially like, look at her run. Did y'all feel like she ran like a 80-year-old woman when she was running around? Like,
she had been hit by lightning 1.5 times that day. So
that was another scene. That was another scene that I was like, that I felt like just came out of nowhere, and it was just for them to have the comms destroyed.
Yeah,
like it served no purpose other than that. Like, they just needed a way to get the comms down so that she couldn't.
I felt like they used it as a tool to like show her toughness, but it just didn't work.
It's just so abrupt. Like, it just kind of happens. Like, oh, there's a storm coming. She jumps out the thing, and then it's over. It's like, I don't know. That's my feeling with this movie. It just has a lot of things that happen just too quickly, and it just doesn't.
It does not sniff Wind River or Sicario for me.
No,
no, not by. I mean, not a long shot.
It very much feels like a streaming movie. Like,
I don't feel like it. I haven't seen it. I've only seen trailers for Yellowstone. That's Taylor Sheridan, and I don't think that it even sniffs that. The thing is that at one point or another, we have to start blaming the directors. And if there's a bad performance 9 times out of 10, I'm going to put that on the director, because that's the director's job is to get the good performance. You got to get the good perform. Yes, you have to have good writing.
It's twofold, but
but the director's job is to get good performances. And there has been bad writing out there, and you see people acting all over bad writing, and you've seen good writing with bad direction, and people can't act their way out of a paper bag. And I think that this is kind of right down the middle. I think that the writing was probably pretty thin. I don't think Sheridan had the most to do with the writing. You have the original author involved, so who knows how much they were like, well, it has to be this way. It has to be true to the book. So how hard is that to film? Because most books are hard to film. That's why they have to kind of embellish quite a bit. So
we kind of just went through a scenario like that with the
Little Things.
Well, kind of, and also, what was that movie that we watched? The Netflix movie.
Oh, the terrible one. What was it called? The Devil All Time.
Oh,
yeah, where it was like very
delusions.
As far as like, it also being super contrived, and the author of the book was heavily involved.
Yeah, he was actually narrating the movie, actually. So yeah. I mean, I honestly,
you can write a book.
Well, anytime that
honestly,
Stephen King,
we see that. Sorry to interrupt you, Al, but like we've seen that with Fantastic Beasts. Like J.K. Rowling was like so involved in those movies that it's like the George Lucas thing. Like they gave George Lucas so much free reign on the prequels that nobody wanted to tell him no to things. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if it's a situation where when you give, when you hold up somebody to where they're, you can't like overstep them, or you're scared to, or whatever it is. Not to say that Taylor Sheridan has that kind of clout, but he's starting to. And he's had a lot of big projects lately. But I don't know if it's him though. I feel like it may be. I mean, it definitely is him in the directing front. He's directing it, but I wonder if there was some sort of time restraint to where he had to chop this thing down, and that's why it's so choppy.
I have a feeling.
I just don't feel like if I look back on this movie, I just don't feel like the technical acting was the main issue. Like I just feel like the story was the main issue. It just was very thin. Like it's a very shallow movie. Like. I mean, and I blame that more on writing than directing.
I'll kick back on that in that I did feel like Jolie's acting was not great. Aidan Gillen's acting, Holt's acting was not great. Basically, like I said, everybody but Bernthal, who's always great, in my opinion. I thought he was good. Tyler Perry was good. Tyler Perry turned a corner for me when he showed up in Gone Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kid was the best.
I'm still not going to watch his movies that he directs, but
right, I'm not either.
Appreciate him.
I think that he's solid, and I think the kid was good too. I thought that he was actually.
I thought
good.
The kid was moments. So at the beginning of the movie, up until he's like out on his own, right? I was like, oh god, this is going to be another one of those kids that like the kid in Jurassic World, and. Like all the kids now are smarter than everybody in the movie, and he's not going to be a kid. And then he was walking through the forest and everything, and he was trying to be a big boy and all this stuff. And he just saw his dad murdered, like brutally murdered, like terribly murdered. And I don't know, he became a kid after that. But before that, he was having like adult reactions to things. And I was kind of nervous about that.
Yeah. The kind of questions he was asking his dad at times,
like in the hotel when they were there and things like that. I just was like, please don't do this. Now, a couple things I learned from this movie. I'll just go ahead and put it out there. I didn't know this.
Creeks lead to rivers and rivers lead to cities.
That being one of them. But the main thing I learned is number one, if you're gonna get hit by a car, only let half your body get hit and have a machine gun, because then you don't die from it. I learned that. And then I learned if you crouch down underneath the glove box in the car whenever it's going to crash, who cares about seatbelts and airbags? You can survive without any scratches whatsoever. And that's what that kid did. They hit head on, and that kid was not jostled or anything. He was like, oh no, Dad, you were shot, basically. And then later on, we find out none of that blood is his blood. It's all his dad's blood and everything. That kid should have been hurt in some degree. There's no way you're going to have that much impact and not be extremely hurt. and he basically he wasn't limping or anything. He was unscathed, and then at the end of the movie, he's got all this blood on him and everything, and then he goes into the they're walking around, they're going and they're trying to run away from Nicholas Hoult and everything, and he's got that big curly hair and everything. And then at the end of the movie, the guy comes up, let me see that scratch, and his hair's down to here, and they lift up his hair. There's no blood down here. It's just little things like that I was like, well, that was super sloppy. Like that kid should have been hurt. You couldn't see any blood, but all of a sudden you can see I know it sounds nitpicky, but it's just little things like that pull me out of a movie. I'm like, and I don't believe Angelina Jolie's arms can save anybody. She's too scrawny, and I just don't believe it at all. And honestly, they barely really showed. I mean, we understand by the end of the movie what she's upset about the whole time, what she keeps flashing back about. But it only really needed to be one or two conversations.
Well, they kind of cover it in that very first one. It's
Okay, we get it.
But
okay, and then she's like, "The wind was going the wrong way." Okay, all right. See you later. And I don't know. And then Nicholas Hoult was able to climb that tree. They had it perfectly, like the limbs were perfectly a ladder, like it was a electric pole or whatever. Like he could climb perfectly. I don't know. Just some of the things were just a little too.
I think you watched this movie more closely than I did.
I mean, this is how I watch movies in general. I mean, I can't help it.
So did you not have a problem that the guy's computer didn't have a password on it?
Yeah, they were that was one thing. Yeah,
I was like, this guy's like, what did he say he was? He's like a forensic accountant or something, and he doesn't even have a password on his computer, and they get in and they're able to get into his computer and track him instantly. Like, I don't know about you guys, but even when I log into my computer, like if I have to pull up like anything to do with like Find My Phone or anything like that, I always have to put it in. Like,
me too.
Like there's always a bunch of security like checkpoints that I have to get through to find.
Did you see how big they made the apps? So they're looking at Find My whatever. Like the apps were like this big around. So they're like, hey, look what we're doing. It was just like, okay.
Well, that kind of just goes to like what we were talking about with like writing. I just feel like, and that's probably why I feel like things are so contrived, because it just didn't feel like. Ryan and I were talking about how lived in Mare of Easttown is. I just felt like this was just so like,
it was lame.
Top level, surface level, like not a lived in movie like you expect from a Sheridan movie. Like you expect it to be like very like neo-Western, super gritty. But this just felt fake. And like I said, I love the setting. It's a really great concept. And, you know, as far as a template for a movie, there's great stuff there to mine, but they just missed the mark for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. I honestly, I think this movie was one of those movies that's so forgetful. Like I think in a couple days, I won't even remember most elements. I just watched this movie. Literally,
this could be another expectations thing too. Like I don't know. I didn't expect this to be a masterpiece, considering they released the trailer so late. Like I
didn't expect it to be a masterpiece, but I expected it to actually be entertaining, and I wasn't entertained. And I was
entertained. I will say the story was weak, but like again, I love outdoor settings and movies.
Now I'm going to say this about Angelina Jolie. In Girl Interrupted, she was great in that movie. And older movies, like before she was really Angelina Jolie wearing the bloody vial around her neck with Billy Bob Thornton, and, you know, Brad Pitt and her married, not have 55 kids and all that stuff. Before she was, you know, fodder for magazines and things like that, I actually thought she was good in a few things. And, you know, okay, she was attractive and everything, but she was a good actress, okay? In this, it looked like like we talk about a lot of actors nowadays, like Bruce Willis and the like, just kind of sleepwalking through a role. It kind of felt like she was trying, but she was sleepwalking in parts. And it really didn't, to your point, Ryan, didn't feel like the writing was there, but it also felt like she wasn't really being asked. So I don't know if maybe Taylor Sheridan was overwhelmed with such a big star, because when River, I mean, it wasn't like the hugest stars in the world. Angelina Jolie still cast a big shadow, whether we like to think it or not, you know? So I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder if they needed to cast somebody like her for money. Like they needed to have a star so they get the budget for the money.
Probably.
Because I mean, it's a weird choice for her in this movie. I just don't understand why her.
I could have seen Kate Beckinsale maybe in this role. Maybe.
Yeah,
I could see, she's a name. I could see. I mean, I know they're never going to get her, but Scarlett Johansson in this movie, I could see. I mean,
even Elizabeth Olsen. Like Elizabeth Olsen seemed like she came to work in Wind River. Like it just didn't feel
she's
like
a little young for this one. But
it didn't feel like Angelina Jolie like came to work. Like
well, I think to your point about age, Ryan, it just kind of felt like they were trying to pass her off as like a older, like 30 something, or I don't know. They didn't really emphasize age, but it just kind of felt like that to me. Like they were trying to like, she's not that old. She's not in her 50s or late 40s or whatever she's.
They should have got. I mean, even like Charlize Theron or something like they could have got somebody that has.
What's the girl? What's the girl?
You guys need to pick some girls who aren't like bone skinny.
What's the girl's name from Terminator Genesis? The blonde girl, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie Davis.
She might have worked in this. I don't know. I would believe that she was. I would believe she was hanging out with the guys. You know what I mean?
I think
Dark,
you are.
I'm
he is talking about Dark Fate.
Yeah, I get them all confused. They're all garbage after 2. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot. I would even take the chick I don't like. What's her name?
All women.
No. from the Invisible Man. What's her name?
Elizabeth something.
Moss.
Yeah.
Moss. Yeah.
I mean, she's tiny, but
that's the thing. Was the Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah. She's actually got some guns on her, so I mean, she's ripped up.
Some man.
But I don't know. I mean, somebody needed to act. I honestly think that. I'll be honest with you. I'll still go and see a Taylor Sheridan movie, but I'm a little gun shy at this point because this wasn't that good, and it seems like after Wind River was a pretty good success.
You get one strike and you're on rocky road.
What did he do that was bad before this?
I'm just saying you get. I feel like he probably
paid for it. He's like, nope, never again.
Well, I didn't pay for Wind River, so I mean. The thing is about Wind River is I feel like he would probably have a little more cachet now, and he would have a little more freedom. And I don't blame the studios and all that. I don't blame. I do think people put.
Well, this is Warner Brothers, right? So you should at least be a little.
Well, yeah, they're only second to Sony in bad notes, but I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have to put some onus on the filmmaker at some point. Wait, I can't keep excusing
at some
everybody.
point he had one movie that he didn't like.
But I'm saying it was just so this was so poorly done. It wasn't like usually a filmmaker moves at least even if the movie's bad moves forward in filmmaking. And this looked like this looked. I mean, to Brandon's point, it looked very green. It looked like a right out of like film school kind of thing.
It just looked meddled with to me. Like what?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I just felt like it was a step back. Whereas I found a lot of things that were like good, and you guys both like it a lot more than me. I liked it, but I saw some things that could be improved upon in terms of him being a first-time director. This felt like he took a step back, but again, that's why I'm like, I wonder if there's more to it than just putting all of it on him. But
the guy's got a great track record.
I'm not gonna write him off though, because I do like his style, and I think that his like neo-Western like genre that he continues to kind of do stuff in it appeals to me, and I'm still interested to see anything else that he puts out. And I do hear so many good things about Yellowstone. I just got to find a way to watch it.
It's on
you and me both, brother.
Peacock. You can watch it on Peacock.
I got to find another way to watch it.
I think
it's Paramount. I think it's on Paramount.
Well, you got the first 3 seasons on Peacock.
I think I did make a. I added it to my library on YouTube TV just to maybe hope that it would pop up and it would record. So
he did direct a movie before Wind River. I think we talked about this on the Wind River. So he is, and that movie is called Vile, and he has directed some of the Yellowstone, about 9 episodes. So. I don't know. I mean,
I honestly wish that if they could have just done away with Angelina Jolie, had John Bernthal be the main character and have his wife be the one that comes for him, then, because I liked it. His wife's like Rambo stuff was actually pretty good. Like I actually liked.
I love that scene. I thought it was awesome.
I thought the her riding the horse. That would hurt a pregnant woman, wouldn't it?
I did make a comment to that.
I thought about that too, but I also think that I
know she didn't want to make the noise, but you can hear you can hear the clopping of the.
It's just a more quiet vehicle, so to speak. But,
I mean, the bear mace scene was probably the best scene in the movie.
I mean, listen, she got thrown pretty hard.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, pregnant ladies don't do well with that kind of thing. So I was worried if that was going to be a thing that they were going to go into. But yeah, they didn't.
Wow.
But I did think that I thought that it was abrupt, her turning into Rambo so quickly. I wish they could have laid the tracks for that a little more. Yeah. But I thought that she was believable. Like she held her own in terms of gunplay.
Well, they threw that line in there. You're a survival teacher, aren't you? You know, like
because that's another thing is like they quickly come to that resolution that she's using a safe word or something or whatever you call it, like with Bernthal. I'm like, I don't know if they would have came to that so quickly. Like,
well, the thing was they were like, anybody that we see dies, and then they were like, I know that they were trying to get the boy. I get it. I get what they were trying to do, but it was like, not everybody dies, you know, because they were like, okay, she's got a baby. Maybe we don't kill her. And then
he was hell bent on killing her. He really wanted to kill a pregnant lady. They make it very
made her mad. Yeah. So I made them mad. Yeah. So anyway, I have no idea. So I don't know. This movie's just a forgettable movie for me. It's like a movie of the week with a couple curse words.
I mean, I think that's probably, I don't know about Ryan, but I feel like I feel like it's not something that I would ever return to. I probably wouldn't even push it on people as far. I mean, maybe my dad or somebody like that that doesn't dig super deep into this type of stuff. Like they would enjoy it, but yeah, it's definitely like, that's when I was thinking, when I was saying on our live stream, like WB's efforts this year with what they've put out in theaters and HBO Max simultaneously has been like, if I'd have seen this in the theater, and a lot of stuff like Little Things, I'd have been kind of upset that I made a trip out of the theater to see those movies. Like, and maybe it's a thing to where I'm not seeing it in a theater. So maybe that has something to do with my, me not forgiving it as much, but
I mean,
I know Al would not agree. I know Al would not agree with this, but I feel like Ryan would. It's funny that the best movie that they've put out, they didn't want anybody to see, and that's Justice League. And all these other movies have been just so like vanilla, like I don't know, just been like very, like we were talking about toothless. Like these movies are just toothless.
Just afraid of taking risks is what it is.
Well, whenever you have, and I'll die on this. I don't care. But whenever you have business people trying to run anything that's creative, you know, and they don't care anything about the creativity. They just care about the numbers. then this is what you're going to get. And this is what most of Hollywood's built of nowadays. That's why I think the care and actually the crowds are moving to things such as an A24 and things like, I think people go there to find the real dramas and interesting movies. A24. Blumhouse, if you like horror and a few other things here and there, but mostly horror, they're your go-to. I think a lot of these smaller places are going to keep kind of showing up and showing out.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe it's a good thing that Warner Media was sold for $43 billion, for crying out loud. I don't know. Well,
I mean, it is. I know that this isn't part of that show, but it is promising when you hear things about them mending relationships with directors, because they, for such a long time, WB was the director's studio. Like, you had so many directors that were there, being able to put out their content. But now it's a different, when you're in the age of IP and people wanting to have bigger and bigger budgeted, like, you know, tentpole movies, they become, the bigger the movie, the more constrained it is, because there's more risk. There's more they have to put in money wise, and therefore they need it to make. They need to have the most global appeal, and therefore it be the most vanilla in approach, because you're trying to appeal to everybody. It's just, you can't have much of a take.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to hear. We've heard this 3 times in the last year from Warner, though, so I want to see like something similar to that. They're like, we're the creative studio. Like, that's like our history is all in that. Like, I just want to see action on it.
Yeah, you can't lay on your laurels if you're not gonna back them up anymore.
It seems like they're the creator driven studio. Really, Chris Nolan. That's about it. Like, they let him do what he wants to, but most everybody else
not anymore. They're gonna take him out of theaters. He's mad. So
yeah.
Well, guys, I guess we'll get down to brass tacks. Brandon, I think you mentioned it earlier, but what do you do with this movie? Buy it, rent it, sell it, skip it. What do you do?
Like I said, I probably wouldn't push it on people unless I knew that they liked just, you know, standard flair popcorn entertainment. Not a lot of substance to it. Like I said, I would push it on some relatives that just don't dive into this stuff as deep as we do. And I don't mean that. I'm not trying to be insensitive or insult people's, you know, like their any kind of their sensibilities or whatever. I just feel like some people like every movie. Like, I know, like, my dad's friend Danny, he likes every movie. There's never been a bad movie ever made. And so, like, there's a lot of people that just, you know, they're not gonna care. This is gonna be fine for them. And so, if you're that kind of person,
show Danny the movie Antichrist. See if he likes that movie. That movie's pretty hard to watch. pretty sure he won't watch it.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll report back.
I would love to see that report.
But yeah, no, this is gonna be, like I said, I don't know what. We're not doing graphics anymore because we're doing all this in StreamYard, as far as like bloop, beep, beep, whatever the things
right.
are. But
right now, you just have a picture of Danny up there. Is that what you have?
Yeah. I'd recommend it to Danny. That's my graphic. Danny can watch it.
So sorry, Danny.
Danny's a nice guy. So I can see why he would like. He's just positive.
He just likes everything. He's super positive. He just
positive.
I like
guy.
Danny.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ryan. If you took the outdoors element away from this movie, would you recommend it?
I can't take it out of it. So, like I said, I was entertained by this movie. It's not like a very technically or sound or like strong story film, but it's a suspense thriller. Like,
it's a movie.
If I'm looking for a streamer, if I'm looking for a movie to stream, I would say, like, if that's what you're after, then this is one worth checking out. But like, temper your expectations, I guess.
Serviceable. It's essentially just serviceable. Like,
yeah,
it's
for sure.
This felt like one of the movies that made me eventually just get rid of Netflix. So I like, this is like,
well, this is on HBO Max, so
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
and you have my login, so don't cancel my HBO Max.
No, I have my own. I have my own now.
Good. I can delete your profile, or I can just keep playing Zack Snyder's Justice League on it.
Oh, is that what you're doing? So, no, I would say skip this movie. It's a waste of time. I just don't think there's anything that you glean from this. That it's not going to be like water cooler talk where you're like, oh, there was this cool scene or anything like that. It's not going to be anything like that. I think it's just quantity over quality. I'll keep saying it. I think that's just what this is. Just keep rolling them out. We need something to put on for people to ingest. So that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and I don't think I would be as hard on this movie if the Sheridan element wasn't attached to it. Like,
I had expectations.
I had expectations going into it because he does have he brings a pedigree with him of, you're going to get some really good dialogue, some great, sequences of, some confrontational stuff that's going to play out really cool. But just kind of didn't work.
Look, Taylor, if you really want to get Brandon on your side,
I'm on his side.
Above the title, Bernthal.
Yes, he needs to be top billed
in everything, and not just Sheridan.
Yeah,
right.
Everything.
It's true. It's true.
Let's do a buddy cop movie.
I would love for anyone to show me a movie where Bernthal doesn't come like prepared. Like
that's enough.
I didn't think he was that great in this movie. I thought he was kind of thin. I thought he was like just kind of like he was pretty much the same character that he was in Wind River, like the same kind of jovial attitude. It was just
he's mostly the same character in everything he's in, but I love that character.
I don't know. I just thought
watching him work.
I thought everything kind of fell flat in this movie, even him. I mean, not that I dislike him. I'm just saying I think everything fell flat. So that goes down to directing to me. So, all right, folks. Anything else we want to add? Anything we want to subtract, as I used to say? Okay.
I don't think so.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us on this review of, what is it called? I already forgot the title of this movie.
Just look
Those Who Wish Me Dead.
On the screen now.
Those Who Wish Me Dead. I don't know why, but I want to call this for Those Who Wish Me Dead. I keep putting a 4. Anyway, yeah.
I was calling it Those That Wish Me Dead for a while.
Yeah. Like, okay, if you really want people to remember it, shrink that title down. So, anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Ryan, you want to tell everybody where they can find us?
Yeah, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Notification bell. Yeah, notification bell so you stay up to date on all our content. We're on Instagram at CiNEMACHinePod, and we just launched a Patreon. That's patreon.com/CiNEMACHinePod. And any support we get from you guys is hugely appreciated.
Yeah, and be sure to tune in for all of our other shows. Cape Cast, where they talk about underwear movies, superhero movies, and everything that is that world. And Criterion Corner, where I talk about all the pretentious movies. So thanks everybody for tuning in.
Still waiting on your unboxing of Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Got it.
Yep.
Got it coming.
I want the same level of production quality that Ryan did with his unboxing video. Okay. I need some slow spinning. I need you to tell me about the straps that's used to keep it, the quality and all the pieces that came with it.
Box closed.
I showed that to, I know that we're closing and I'm sorry to derail us right now, but I showed it to Luna today and she was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I'm in this one." She's like, "I want to watch you." I was like, "Okay."
Oh, look at you, Brandon.
Trained her.
Big shot with the daughter.
Trained her up right. Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll do it. I got.
Be on the
plans.
lookout. Be on the lookout for
it.
More unboxings.
I'm amping up my little studio, so I'm getting all that put away, and I want to get it right before I really put anything out. So, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, folks. 2 weeks.
Got a lot of rooms there, so you got plenty of space to.
I got.
You can have your unboxing room. You can have your Criterion room. You can have your CineMachine room.
Christmas room.
4-bedroom house for one person.
We're gonna need an entire room in our Pantone yellow color for CiNEMACHiNE episodes from now on.
Just have my eyes burn.
Yeah.
Ah! Well, no more khaki wall in 2 more weeks. I promise you. So
it's gonna be gray.
I can look across the wall and I can see.
You already showed me the swatches.
It's gonna desaturate this wall behind him that's super saturated as is.
It won't be this room right here at all. It's a totally different room. So yeah. So we'll I'm trying to make it fancy for you. We'll see. We'll see if I'm able to accomplish that. So anyway, I've got a special assignment that I'm doing right now that I haven't even told you guys about. I'm testing some theories about movies and their cost and used movies and how much they actually. So I went and purchased some used movies the other day, and I'm seeing if they're really worth the money that people say they're worth. So I'll have that
very
special.
Confused by this statement, but
it's cool. VHS movies that are supposed to sell for a lot of money. I'm testing that theory, so we'll see what happens. See if it's fake or not. So
you report back.
I will. All of that and more on the next CiNEMACHiNE. See you guys next time. Be sure to watch many movies. Tell us what you're watching. Tell us what we should be watching, and let's keep the conversation going. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.